Hello friends, I am Om and from today we are going to start our new Node.js series. Trust me guys, I will fall you guys in love with Node.js. So let's begin with this tutorial. In this particular tutorial, we are going to see how modules work, how export function works, and we will see all that steps. Trust me guys, no one is teaching you in this detail like the way I will. So I will go one step deeper in each and every tutorial. Right, so you will never found this kind of tutorial on YouTube. I bet you. So let's start and let's begin with the Node.js. So first of all, let's understand what is Node.js. Before that, I want to tell you that JavaScript is a single threaded synchronous language, right? So what does it means? Like JavaScript runs when JavaScript executes the code, it executes the code line by line. It executes the code line by line. When JavaScript runs the code, it executes the code line by line, and in a sequence, like first this line will execute, then this line will execute, then this line will execute. This is mean by single threaded synchronous language, and everything works on a single thread. Everything works on a single thread, right? So what is Node.js now? So Node.js gives the superpower to JavaScript to run asynchronous code, right? Or we can say that very earlier JavaScript is used to only run onto the browsers, right? JavaScript used to only run onto the browsers, but with the help of Node.js now we can run the JavaScript onto the servers as well. So let's take an example. Let's say this is our Ixigo application, right? This is our Ixigo application. So now this is basically the application from which you can book the train tickets, or you can see the data of the trains. So let's say now what we want to do is we want to fetch the data of the train. So this is, let's consider that this is IRCTC's web server. This is IRCTC's web server. So now with the help of APIs we can fetch the data from IRCTC. We can fetch the data of trains from IRCTC. Now let's understand this. This function fetch, this function is asynchronous function. This function will fetch the data in asynchronous fashion, but still we can use this function into the JavaScript. Now we can use this function into the Node.js, right? So as this is the synchronous function, still we can use it inside the JavaScript. This is just because of Node.js, guys. This is just because of Node.js. So what Node.js claims is that now you can run your JavaScript everywhere. JavaScript can run inside your watch, JavaScript can run inside the bulb, JavaScript can run inside anything. So with the help of Node.js now you can run JavaScript everywhere, right? So we will see into the detail that how JavaScript works and what makes JavaScript to run asynchronous code and all that. Just to give you a spoiler, let me tell you guys that, let's say this is our Node.js. This is our Node.js. So inside the Node.js there are two main components. Inside the Node.js there are two main components, guys. Just listen this very carefully. This is the V8 engine. This is the V8 engine, and this is the JavaScript. This is the JavaScript engine which is built by Google. And the second and the most important component of the Node.js is libuv. We will go into the detail that how libuv work, how the V8 engine work. I will tell you that what is the how the infrastructure of V8 is, how the infrastructure of libuv is. We will go into the complete detail. No one is teaching onto the YouTube that what is the architecture of V8 and what is the architecture of libuv inside the Node.js course. But trust me guys, I will tell you each and everything about V8 engine, each and everything about libuv. So we will go deeper into that concepts as well, like how V8 engine work, how the call stack works, how the garbage collector works, how the heap memory work, and with the help of that how libuv work, how the V8 engine offloads the asynchronous task to libuv, and after that how libuv handle that asynchronous task and talk to the operating system. We will see that in a complete detail. Trust me guys, I will fall you in love with Node.js. First of all, now let's understand that, and let me tell you that this libuv is completely built on C language. This libuv is completely built on C language, and Node.js is also a combination of multiple languages. Node.js is also written into the C++ and JavaScript. Mostly it is wrote in JavaScript, but it still uses the code of C++ as well. So if you want to see that, let me show you. The Node.js is an open source repository, so you can go onto the GitHub page of this Node.js GitHub, and you can see there Node.js is also written inside the C++. Node.js is also written inside the JavaScript. Mostly it is written on JavaScript. Okay, so you can see it here. JavaScript 61%, C++ 23%, 10% is Python, C is 2.9%, HTML is 0.7%. So let me show you one more thing. Let's see libuv. Okay, so this is the cross-platform asynchronous I/O. So with the help of libuv, what libuv is saying that with the help of libuv, you can run asynchronous task on any platform, right? You can. So basically, what is happening? Asynchronous I/O made simple. Asynchronous I/O made simple. So here, that's what I am trying to say, that when the libuv and v8 engine combines, basically the node is very powerful, and this libuv is the superhero for Node.js. This libuv is the superhero for Node.js because all the synchronous tasks are handled by libuv. And don't worry guys, I will tell you in detail how libuv work, how the event loop work, how thread pool work, how callback queue work. I will tell you everything in detail, so don't worry about it. Firstly, let's now get into the Node.js code first. Okay, so inside the Node.js, first we will see that how to write Node.js code, or let me delete this. Okay, so whenever you are writing the Node.js code, the first thing is that you need an entry point. So basically there will be one file which will be the entry file for your project, right? So let's say we have created a file called app.js, and inside this, let's consider we are writing the code right now. Okay, so let's say we have two variable where x is equals to 3, let's say, and where y is equal to, let's say, 5. Okay, so now let's say we have calling the function directly from here. We are calling the function directly from here, named as calculate sum. Okay, calculate sum, and we are passing the two variable x comma y here. Okay, so now what will be the output? It is very simple guys, it is very simple. We will get an error. Okay, so this is the error, calculate sum is not defined, because we didn't actually make our function as of now. So let's do it guys. Calculate sum, and okay, sorry, function calculate sum, and we are getting a parameters x comma y, and let's say we create a var z is equal to x plus y. Okay, and now what we are doing here is console.log z. Okay, so now what will be the output? It's very simple. We are going 7. We will get 7 output. Sorry, 8, right? So okay, it's not visible to you, I guess, but we are getting 8 output, right? Here it is 8. Okay, so now what I want to tell you guys is that, okay, let me do one thing. Let me run it once again. Node app.js. So see, here output is coming 8, which is very obvious, right? So now what I want to tell you is that, what if we deleted this function from here, or we copied this function from here, and if we created a new file called sum.js, and we paste this code inside this. Okay, so now what I am trying to explain you guys here is that we don't want to mess up our main file. We don't want to write all the code on the server side. Okay, so we will do all the code in a structured manner. We want to save our middlewares in a different folder. We want to save our code logic or the function logic in some different files. So now we directly want to execute this function from here, but we are not writing the logic of this function here. What we are doing is we are writing the logic of this function inside the sum.js. How it will work? Okay, so let's understand that. If we do console.log, and this is the sum.js. Okay, so we write it something like this here. okay, inside the sum.js file. And let's say if we create another file called xyz.js, let's say, and console.log, and we will say this is xyz file. Okay, so now let's say what I want to tell you is that these files are considered as modules. Okay, these files are considered as module. So now if I want to use this function inside, if I want to use this function which is present in the sum module, and I want to use that function into the app module, how I can do that? I can do that with the help of a require function. I can do that with the help of require. Okay, so now if I do into this directory, sorry, I want to give a path here. So sum.js, or you can just write sum, right? So now if you execute the code, okay, let's do one more thing. Let's require one more file which is our xyz.js, right? So let's consider that we have also required this file. Now what do you will think, what will be the output? I guess this is going to be execute, right? This will execute, right? But see, my dear friends, what will happen here is, see, we got an error, but we got this output. This is the sum.js which is coming from this, right? Which is coming from this. So after requiring this module, we are getting this code. We are getting this code, right? We are getting console.log. This is the sum.js file. We are also getting, this is a xyz file which is coming from here, right? Now inside the app.js I am getting an error, and what is that error is calculate sum x comma y. This is a reference error. Calculate sum is not defined. Why is it so? Because we to require this sum module, right? So according to this, this function should be executed, but what it is not, but why it is not happening? So my dear friend, let me tell you that if you want to, when you write a function and variable inside a file, the module will not allow you to use these functions and variable inside the another file. Okay, so if you are using this function and if you want to execute this function inside this app.js, then you can't do it directly. So to do that, what you have to do is you have to export this function. So you can export this function like this: export module.exports, and now you have to give the name of this function here. And once you exported this function from here, now you have to import this function into the module where you want to implement this, right? So we want to implement this function inside the app.js. So let's get into the app.js and let's write here const calculate sum equals to require sum. Okay, so now if you run this code, here you will get an output. Let me run it once again. Now you can see that this is the sum.js which is coming from here. Then you will get the output. This is xyz file which is coming from here, and finally you will get the output 8 here. So this function is executing now. Got my point? Now let's see one more type into this. Let's say now we are also having a variable called m inside this, and the value of variable m is 9, let's say. Okay, the value of variable m is 9, let's say. So now if you want to export this variable also, then we can do this. Then we can do like this: module.exports is equal to, I can simply give m here, and now inside the app.js, what I will do is const m is equal to require, and again I'll do the same thing, /sum. Now let's do one thing. uh, okay, we can, sorry, we can do it here only. So let's do this, console.log, and let's log am here. Okay, so now if we run our code, see what we are getting. Calculate sum x comma y. Calculate sum is not a function. But why we are getting this error? Calculate sum is not a function. Why we are getting this error? Cause you cannot export two different thing like this. If you want to export both am, and if you want to export both calculate sum, what you have to do here is you have to pass both the things as an object. You have to wrap this inside an object. Calculate sum here comma am. Okay, and now what you will do here is you can use this as, now as we are passing this as an object here, you want to import this as an object here only, right? So now if you cancel this line, and if you do const object is equal to require dot slash sum. Okay, now let's remove this. So now if you want to calculate sum, let me show you one thing. Now node app.js, still we are getting the error. Calculate sum is not defined. Why we are getting this error? Because now if we want to execute this function, we haven't we are exported this function from here as an object. So we are getting an object here. Inside the object there will be this function calculate sum. Let me show you guys. So if I do here is console.log object. Now if you see the code, here you can see that we got this as an object. So if we want to execute this function, that what we have to do is we have to do object dot calculate sum. And if we want to use this am as well, then also we have to do object dot am. Right? See, we are passing this as an object. We are wrapping everything inside the object and then exporting this. So when we import it here, we have to use this as an object. So object dot calculate sum and object dot am. Now if we try to execute our code, it will run successfully. See, it is running successfully. This is sum.js, this is xyz file, this is 8 and this is 9, and this thing is coming from this this object is coming from this. Okay, so I hope you got my point. And if you don't want to use this object dot every time, so what you can do is you can use object destructuring here as well. So what does object destructuring means? Whatever you are exporting from here, just use like this only, calculate sum comma m. So now you don't need to do object dot. Okay, so if we remove this, now you can see we will get the same output. As earlier. Okay, let's see. Let me run this code. Wait a minute, object is not defined. Okay, sorry. See friends, we are getting the same output. So we can also use the object destructuring here, and mostly in most of the code which were written by experienced developer, you will see that they will use every time the object destructuring here only, right? So try to do practice with the object destructuring only. Okay, so I hope you got my point, how to use the different module inside a single module. So you basically have to do is module.exports. Okay, so this is one way of importing and exporting the modules, right? So now what is the second method? Okay, so we will see now. So this export and requires happens inside an common JS module, right? So if you see inside this package.json, this is the type common JS. We have also another type which is known as module. Okay, es module. What es module is, that we will see. With the help of es module, we can simply use import and export statements, right? So let's see that. First, let's change type to, let's change our type to module. Okay, so now if we are using module here, we can't do this, we can't do this module.export and all this. So now inside this, if we want to export this function, you simply need to write export in front of this. Okay, so you simply need to write export in front of this, export in front of this also, right? And now if you want to import it here, if you want to import it here, you can simply use import calculate sum from dot slash sum, and you can simply use this calculate sum here. Got my point? Do m here as well, and you will see that you will get the same output. Just a second. Okay, so it's saying that cannot find modules. It's not finding the module inside exports sum imported from C, import dot slash sum dot js. Let's see. No, we just want to from dot slash sum. Let's see now if we do like this. Okay, so basically I guess it is not happening inside my, let's give it a name as es modules. No, but we just have to do module here. Okay, so guys, I figured out this error actually. So let's do .js, let's give .js extension here, and now let's run this code. So now if you run this code, we still get an error, and this is the error that require is not defined in es module. Okay, so we have to remove this require, obviously, because we can't use the require and export modules here in module. Okay, so we obviously have to remove that. Okay, now let's see and run the code. Again error, m is not defined. Okay, because we are exporting m from here, right? We are exporting m as well from here, so we need to import it here. And as we are writing console.log m here, now if you run the code, it will successfully run the code. See, we got an output. So this is basically the different way of importing and exporting things. But in real code, or when we write the code, we will use the module.exports only, because into the documentation and everywhere the module.export is widely used. So we are going to use module.export only, but this is very easy to use. Okay, and this will also help us to deal with asynchronous code as well. But still we are going to use module.export only. Module.export only. So I hope you guys understand that how to use one module inside the another module. With the I told you two different methods. First one is CommonJS and second one is module. So with the help of these two methods, you can use one module inside inside the another module. Okay, so the second one is very easy. You just have to export it from here and just import this here, right? And the first one is also very easy. You just need to export that functions and variables from there, and you need to import it here. Now the question arises that why we can't able to use a function directly inside another module. Okay, so this is the big question. Like, if we change, let's change this first to CommonJS. Okay, let's change this first to CommonJS, and let's remove this. Come to sum.js. Let's remove this export from here. Okay, and let's do module.exports is equal to calculate sum comma m. Okay, calculate sum comma m, and let's import it here. Const calculate sum comma m, require dot slash sum. Okay, so let's try first run this code. Yeah, the code is successfully running. Now let's understand that why we are not able to use this calculate sum directly without exporting this. So this is because let me tell you one more concept in detail, that whenever the module, whenever you are requiring the module, what this require is doing is that this require is wrapping all this code inside a function. What behind the scene the require is doing is it is wrapping all the function inside all the code inside a function. Let's consider it as, let me show you one thing. So if you see here that inside this box, let's say this is a wrapper, so what require is doing here is it is wrapping your code inside this box. It is wrapping the whole code inside this box, and now this box is going to be imported onto your another module. Okay, so but now if this whole code, if this whole code is wrapping inside the box, what, how it is executing, basically this box is not actually a box, this is a function. This is a function, and also guys, this is not a normal function. This type of function is known as IFFY function. IFFY, I guess, or IFFE, sorry. So this is not, this is actually IIFE, IFFY function. So what happens is when you when we create a module, all this function is all this code, all your code which is inside the module is wrapped inside an function. You can also consider, you can also understand this by, let's say, let's understand this. If we have the function, okay, call by name, let's say, give it any name. Okay, call by name, we are taking call by name. Okay, so now if you have constants and variable, let's say, inside this, so let's say where a is equal to 9, where b is equal to 8, where c is equal to 6, let's say, and you also have a function inside the function call by value. Okay, call by value, and again if you have where d inside this 9, where k is equal to 0. So now if you see that, now what I want to tell you, can you access this function, can you access this variable outside this function? If I want to do here is console.log a, what do you think? Can we access the variable which is inside the function out? Can we access that outside the function? No, we can't. Let's see this. Node sum.js. If we run this file, we will get an error. A is not defined. Because when you write variables or functions inside the function, it is having its own space now. It is inside the scope of this function only. You can't access this variable outside this function, right? You can't access these variables out of this function. So module works in a similar way, right? Module works in a similar way. When you use module, what module do is it creates a function. It basically wraps all your code inside the function. And this is not a normal function, my dear friends. Again, I am telling you, this is not a normal functions. This is known as immediately invoked function expression, IIFE. It is also called as IFFY. So immediately invoked function expression. Okay, so now how it looks. So now you can compare from here then. Okay, so now I hope you get answer to your my question now, why we can't directly access the functions of this module inside this module. The answer is very simple, that this module wraps this function inside an IFFY function, and now the scope of this code is inside this module only. Okay, so now if we want to use this function inside this module, so you need to import that function here, and you need to export that function from there, and you need to import this here. So that's why you can't access these functions or variables of one module inside another module, right? So how this if function looks like? So the if function looks like this. If function looks like this function, it will be anonymous function, let's say, like this. And after that, you will call it immediately, you will call the function immediately, right? So basically when you wrap a function inside this inside this round brackets, this is an expression. Okay, so this is an expression. So this is basically if function, immediately invoke function expression. Okay, this is an expression. When you wrap a function inside a round brackets, then this is known as function. Okay, so this, and you are immediately calling this function, that's why it is a if function, immediately invoked function expression. So all this code get inside this type of if function, and now this is exported as it is from here. And now when you import this here, now you can use this function or variables which is present inside this. Got my point? So this is what I want to explain you. So now what Node.js will do is, when you import this function, Node.js will take that function, wrap that function inside, wrap that code inside the function, and then it will give it to V8 engine, and V8 engine will execute your code, right? I hope you got my point. Let's again revise this, how the things are working here. So when you write the code inside a module, and if you want to use that code inside another module, then what you have to do is, you have to export, this function from here. And the function which you want to use, you have to import that here inside the another module. And now what happen behind the scenes is, when you do export or when you do import, what module do is, module wraps a code inside a function. It is not a normal function, that is the immediately invoked function expression, function expression, right? It will look like this will be the function, this will be the anonymous function. Okay, and it will call immediately. So as the code is wrapped inside the function, that's why we can't use this code simply directly into another module. So for that, what you have to do is, you have to require that module. And when you require that module inside this module, what Node.js will do is, Node.js will again wrap that code inside a function, and it will give it to V8 engine. And now it's the task of V8 engine to run the code and give us the output. Okay, so don't worry friends, if you just remember that, if you just understand that how the exports, module.exports and import functions are working, that's fine for this video. We will definitely see how the code is running inside how the code is executing inside the V8 engine. We will see that in a complete detail, like how the function are executing inside the V8 engine, how the variables are executing inside the V8 engine, what is the architecture of V8 engine, how V8 engine is interacting with libuv, and we will see all of that inside one video. Okay, so that video will be very important for you guys, and I hope you understand this video. And I just want to tell you that I just want to tell you guys that please explore the things inside Node.js. This is a very beautiful framework. This is the open source framework. Go inside the GitHub library, go inside the GitHub, search for Node.js, and try to understand how the code was written inside the JavaScript, how the code was written. The code was really beautiful, guys. I trust me guys, I will fall you guys in love with Node.js. Just give me some time. I will tell you how the V8 engine works, how libuv work, and you will definitely love the videos. Trust me guys, no one is teaching you in the way I am teaching. No one taught on the YouTube that how the libuv is working with V8 engine, and how what are the component inside the libuv, and what are the component inside the V8 engine. Trust me, I will tell you everything. I will tell you everything from the architecture and to the component, and we will go inside the component, we'll see how the components are working internally, and everything we will see. Just to give you a spoiler about libuv, there are three main components inside the libuv. The first one is the first one is thread pool, second one is event loop, and the third one is callback queue. So inside the V8 engine there is a call stack, there is a heap memory, there is a garbage collector. We will see that how the code is executing inside the call stack, and once the call stack is empty, how it is syncing with the event loop, and how the event loop is searching for the another asynchronous function which is present in the callback, and it will take that callback function and will put into the call stack. We will see everything in detail, everything in detail. Don't worry, just be with me. Hope you understand how the module.exports work and how the import export work into this video. That's it guys for the import export video. We will see the architecture of V8 and libuv into the another video. So thank you for today.